Hi, I'm Terry Ammerman with the Terry Ammerman Group. I am a communications expert. I've been working with executives and managers all over the globe, teaching them how to communicate more effectively. I've traveled everywhere from Saudi Arabia to Iceland. And what I'm doing now is I'm bringing my expertise to YouTube, to the online community, because I really want to work with women and I want to help young professional women and influencers to be better communicators. So I'm doing a weekly video talking about tips and tricks that I've learned and that I teach in communications. And I'm also offering a coaching package that you can look below and see my email, terry@ammermantraining.com. And if you email me, I will send you the details of that coaching package. If you've been watching me for a while, welcome. I'm so glad to have you in my community. And if you're new, subscribe below, and then you'll get a notification whenever I put out a new video. So today what I want to talk about is networking. When I first started with my father's company, one of my jobs was to go out to luncheons and events and network. And I will tell you, I didn't like it. It made me so uncomfortable. I just dreaded walking into a room where I didn't know anybody and trying to make small talk. And frankly, I still don't enjoy it very much now, but I have a much better approach that makes it a lot easier and I think a lot more effective. So let me tell you how that works. First of all, if you walk into a room and there are a whole bunch of people standing around and you don't know anybody, you look for the group of friendliest people and you walk up and just stand there until there's a break in the conversation. That is the easiest way, although it might feel a little uncomfortable. It's a very easy approach. Another one is if you're standing in line, for example, at a registration table, start talking to one of the people who's standing in line with you and then continue the conversation. But let's say you have to walk up to a group of people and you don't know either one of them. Another thing you can do is if you do happen to know someone and they're talking to someone you don't know, then walk up to that person and just wait until there's a break in the conversation and then introduce yourself. Now, when you introduce yourself, you say something like, I'm Terry Ammerman with the Terry Ammerman Group. And you don't have to say, I'm Terry Ammerman with the Terry Ammerman Group and we do media training and presentation. No, you don't need to go into all that, because when you do, you're just dumping a lot of information. You just introduce yourself and get to know someone the way you would at a party. I'm Terry Ammerman with the Terry Ammerman Group. Then that person will introduce himself or herself to you. And then if the conversation continues with what those two people were talking about, just engage in that conversation. But let's say they stop that conversation and now there's quiet. Then ask a question and make it a very easy, how about those Astros? Or, I'm from Houston, by the way. Or, my gosh, if you live in Houston, then an easy one is, how about this weather? We're going through a record heat wave right now. So something that's simple. And let's say you say something like, wow, we're having some crazy hot weather, aren't we? And the person you're talking to, let's say it's a man, and he says, yes, when I was out with my son yesterday at softball practice, they could barely practice for 30 minutes. It was so hot. Now, this is where you use the technique I call cherry picking. What can you ask that man about what he just said? An easy question would be, oh, how old is your son? How long has he been playing softball? That's a very safe topic, and this gentleman may talk about his son in softball for 2 or 3 minutes. If he does that, he will remember you and he will remember the conversation. So, the other thing that you want to do had a little glitch there, sorry. So, the other thing that you want to do is when you get to the table, and you may have assigned seating or you may all walk over to a table together, but when you're at a table at a luncheon, for example, don't feel the pressure that everyone at the table needs to remember who you are and what you do for a living, because that's, first of all, it's awkward, it makes you uncomfortable, and it's not necessary. So ultimately, what your goal is to meet one or two. If you go to a networking event and you meet one or two people with whom you exchange business cards and you remember their name and they remember your name, that's a win. Because ultimately, what you want them to do is to associate your name with your company and remember you down the road if they or someone they know has a need for what services you offer. So if you're sitting at the table, let's say usually it's a round table of about 8 or 10 people, talk to the person next to you. If you can have a meaningful conversation about anything, honestly, with the person next to you, the old adage is stay away from politics and religion. I think that's probably safe. But you talk about the weather, you talk about dogs, you talk about children, whatever it is, and then ask them about what they do. That will get you much further along in your goals. Because here's what we know. This is interesting. It's a technique we know about selling. When people invest conversation in you, in other words, if you go on a sales call and someone spends 20 minutes with you telling you about their needs and what's going on in their world, you will be memorable. Isn't that interesting? Because what we offer people that is so incredibly valuable is our undivided attention. So you're going to talk to people on either side of you. You're going to try your best to have a meaningful conversation. Now, if there's a protocol at the event where everybody goes around and introduces themselves, then by all means take advantage of that. You can give people your business card, but passing around business cards like you're dealing from a card deck does not serve you. It's not memorable. They won't remember you. They will take the business card home and they'll throw it away. So ultimately, what your goal is to exchange business cards maybe with 2 or 3 people and then go back to your computer and send them a quick note by text or by email saying, I really enjoyed meeting you. Here's my information if you happen to need it in the future. It's what we would call a soft sell. It makes the event a lot more fun. It takes a lot of the pressure off of you. And eventually, you're going to make some friends and you might even make a sale. So I hope that was helpful for you. And again, subscribe below. If you haven't already, email me for information about my coaching package, which is done by Zoom. And I will see you next week. Have a great 4th of July weekend.